Good morning, or good afternoon, or good evening, wherever you are. The topic today will be called a psychoanalytic approach to forgiveness. Now, what really sparked this thought for me and the reason to flesh this out more was I was watching a wonderful talk by Adam Phillips on attention seeking, where close to the end of the video he says that he doesn't believe that people should forgive. And this is a very provoking statement, I would say. And I wanted to confront exactly why he would say this, especially because Adam Phillips himself is a psychoanalyst and used to do therapy on children. And in response, I wrote an essay about what Adam Phillips means by this, possibly. What he could mean by this, possibly. And by writing this essay, I have been able to construct something unexpected while writing, in the very process of thinking this through. And so let's get started, shall we? Here I attempt to address the nature of forgiveness and the tension that is oscillated between two individuals, where one has wronged the other and the other claims to be wronged. However, the experience of this event where the wrong occurs is also where we should begin to examine whether two individuals mutually acknowledge this event or one concedes. Shame simultaneously enters the picture. But the danger lies in the presupposition that both are reliable narrators. We assume without question this is a circumstance of morality, though arguments can be made for such. This apparent obviousness is where one can easily fall into error. For to be forgiven or to be wronged, both must have agreed either wittingly or unwittingly to the same set of moral values that they must adhere by. But morality is a fog where we presume the correct criteria for judgment and execution. This is where I recommend putting morality to the side and confronting the tension that needs attending to. For shame, as Adam Phillips would say, is the tyranny of the image, the desire to come back to our best selves. Shame is, therefore, the necessary precondition to request forgiveness. Again, we presume what is to be desired in the image of our best selves. This narrow attentiveness is what makes the tyranny of the image powerful. Does one wish to be forgiven because one has strayed from such image? Or does one wish to be forgiven because one has done something utterly wrong? The invitation of morality can easily end this exploration, and this is why it must be pushed temporarily aside. To forgive and to be forgiven is to confront the tyranny of the images both have imposed on one another, and the images they hold themselves accountable to of who they believe they are or should be. The demands or hopes to be forgiven and the pressure to forgive are both states that give a feeling of unbearable weight, but it is exactly this unbearable weight that both do not want to confront. The one demanding forgiveness does not want to confront shame, and the one being pressured to forgive does not want to confront the incapacity to forgive. But this is where true reconciliation is made possible. It is not the reconciliation of two individuals, but the reconciliation of the contrary images that both must develop a relationship with. This relationship is what I believe to be true forgiveness. The one that was wronged must develop a relationship with his or her image of the incapacity to forgive. And the one demanding forgiveness must develop a relationship with his or her image of shame. These are the contraries that are most debilitating and necessary to confront. This continued tension with such confrontations where I hope to reveal the conception of unsaid forgiveness. For neither can change the past, and this is where we must come to grips with our own helplessness. Things that were not addressed in this essay is the development of the child and their experiencing of shame for the first time, and being demanded to apologize or forgive, as well as the circumstances where one does not want to be forgiven and is not pressured to forgive. However, both are preconceptions about a relationship with the other, when it is still in fact a relationship with the contrary tyrannical images that are imposed and must be reconciled. And that is the end of the essay. I don't have much to say after this essay. I typically do, but I guess if I could clarify more or to simplify for those that may be still unsure about what exactly I am saying, I think what makes it most clear is that typically forgiveness is under the presupposition that there is another, this confrontation with the other, as, for example, the other person that did something wrong to you, as well as the person that demands forgiveness or is in hopes of forgiveness. But in reality, the real relationship and the real debilitating struggle is with the images that we have been imposed on and the images that we strive towards, that we have created for ourselves. And it's this relationship that needs to be reconciled. It's this confrontation that needs to happen. And once that occurs, we can really say that one forgives or one is forgiven. But it won't be under the conventional idea of in relationship to the other, but more in relationship to the images of my incapacity to forgive, or the image of shame that one would hold to oneself. And that is where I believe the true forgiveness can emerge, as well as the ability to forgive and be forgiven. Anyways, I have nothing I have nothing much more to say on this. There is a lot to address, though. I still left open the development of the child and how the child experiences shame for the first time. And I've seen this numerous times, really, with children, where the child is taken by the parent and demanded to apologize to another child. And this is where the child experiences shame. But one is never really taught how to deal with shame. I've also seen where, because of the shame that one feels, the one that is accused of doing the wrong then demands or hopes to be forgiven. And this is where the other person that has been wronged is pressured to forgive when perhaps they are not quite ready to forgive. But we see this all so often in our lives. About someone asks you, will you forgive me? The pressure is already there. It already exists. And here you can also feel shame, because you realize that you're not ready to forgive, but then there's also this pressure to forgive because you're trying to abide by this image that you can forgive and that you are ready to forgive. But again, there's a lot here to discuss and talk about, especially shame, forgiveness. But I hope that was enlightening, and even if there were things that were agreeable and disagreeable within this, I think it is definitely worth discussion. All right, guys, take care.